Okay, so I wanted to make a series of videos on little tidbits that I've discovered about my 911 that might be useful to other 911 owners, or even Boxster and Cayman owners might find most of these useful as well. So the first 5 of these are in today's video. And we're going to start with the parking brake, or the e-brake, which is the most annoying feature of my 911 and the feature that causes me the most trouble. And part of that is because Porsche, in their infinite wisdom, have made turning on or applying the e-brake the opposite direction of every other car manufacturer I've ever driven. That is, for most cars you lift the brake to turn it on and you push it down to turn it off. In the Porsche it's the other way around, you push it in to turn it on and you lift it up to turn it off. Which has led to a few moments of terror as captured in this dash cam video. And so what I did there, of course, was even though I thought I'd applied the brake, I'd actually lifted the brake and it didn't apply, and I'd forgotten to put the car in gear before I got out of it. These are mistakes I will not be making again. And it's just bad habits from having previously had PDK and automatic gearboxes, and with the BMW it just automatically put itself into park, and so I never did anything. So just bad habits, and so the car nearly got away on me that day. What an idiot. So yeah, the parking brake, one thing to know about the parking brake is, annoying as it is, it does have a self-release feature. That is, if the parking brake's engaged, you put your seatbelt on, you put the car into gear, and in the PDKs, as soon as you put your foot on the gas, it'll release the park brake. In the manual, as soon as you lift your foot on the clutch, off the clutch, it'll release the brake. So there is an automatic component to the brake, but yeah, just like me, if you've got a manual transmission, remember to apply the brake and leave the car in gear, otherwise bad things are going to happen. So second today is jump starting your Porsche if the battery is flat. Stick with me on this one, it's a good one. So it should be pretty straightforward, right? The battery, just like in most 911s, is up front under the trunk or the frunk. You can see it here. And a good thing about the 991.2 is that they've actually upgraded the battery, and they've even got space there for an even bigger battery if you want. I had a lot of problems with my battery in the 991.1 I had. It was always running flat because I had other electrical problems. So the problem is, because the battery is located under the hood, and these days the hood is an electronic release, that is, you pull up a button to release the hood. If the battery is dead, you cannot get the hood open, and as such you can't get access to the battery. There's no manual release. There is a manual handle inside, which I assume is to allow manual release of the hood if you trap some child or dog in there. An interesting side note on that handle, pull that green handle and it also releases the engine cover at the back for some reason. Who knows why? But anyway, back to the original problem. Your battery's dead, you can't get to the battery. What do you do? The clever engineers at Porsche do have an answer to this problem. Here in the 911 Good to Know Owner's Manual, page 161, there's a section called Emergency Unlocking of the Trunk Lid. What they suggest you do is get your spare battery. Where is that spare battery going to be kept? In the trunk? And your jumper leads. Also, where are those jumper leads coming from? Place your battery beside the car and run it into the fuse box, where you can pull out a positive terminal allowing you to power the car and get access to the trunk. Basically what they're talking about here is this little positive terminal that you can pull out, and you can supposedly put some jumper leads on, and you put the negative jumper leads, ground it to the car somewhere, and that powers the car to get access to the trunk, and then you can take the jumper leads off and jump start the car. So that's the theory according to Porsche on how to get your hood open with a flat battery. Of course, the shortcomings are, of course, that not many people have got a spare battery inside their car, and even fewer people would have their jumper leads also inside their car. They'd keep these items in their trunk, which of course you don't have access to. And even if you do have someone else's battery and someone else's jumper leads, few people, I think, would be brave enough to be sticking huge, great, honking jumper leads inside their fuse box to find that terminal. So what's the solution? Well, I used to have this problem all the time in my 991.1. Which battery went flat all the time because it had other electrical problems. And I didn't want to put the jumper leads in there, so I made up a little mini set of jumper leads out of speaker wire and alligator clips, and it was just enough power to get that hood open and be able to get to my other stuff and jump start the car directly from the battery. So that's another way of doing it, but for most people this isn't going to be a problem, but you should be aware that's how you get into the hood if your battery is completely flat. So, third item today is the rear seats or the back seats, which most people consider to be completely useless and don't even think about. But I would disagree. I think having a sports car with rear seats is fantastic, and it's one of the reasons I love the 911. The back seats can be used for a lot of things. Obviously, you can put your groceries back there, your dogs back there, whatever. But they also fit golf clubs perfectly. If you're a golfer, you fold down those seats and you can fit an entire set of golf clubs in there, no trouble. And surprisingly, you can also fit people in there. Often people think you can only put children in there, but people can fit in there as long as they are 5'3" or less. So measure up your passengers before they get in. Yes, somebody that's 5'3" or less will comfortably fit in the back seat. Okay, so fourth item today is the leather wear, or in particular the wear on the bolsters on the seats. This is a common problem in a lot of sports cars with big bolsters and leather, but particularly so in Porsches where the wear can become quite unsightly very quickly, and it's just something that people should be made aware of, because it's nothing worse than having a 10,000 mile car that already looks shabby inside. So the problem is around the bolsters, and it doesn't matter whether it's an 18-way or a 14-way seat, they wear very quickly because we tend to scrape our fat asses across those bolsters as we get in and out of the car. The 911 is a very low car, so it's very hard to get in and out of. So the trick to not having any bolster wear is just to avoid touching those bolsters as you get in and out of the car. And one way of doing that is putting your hand on the bolster as you get in. It makes you avoid that top bolster, but also sort of popping yourself into the seat instead of sliding yourself into the seat. I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's the only way to truly prevent ugly wear on those bolsters. Oh. And in case you're wondering, yes, it is normal to make a fat old man grunting sound when getting in and out of a 911. Okay, finally today is the cold weather front wheel bump. What am I talking about? Well, this problem really alarms brand new 911 owners. I've seen this so many times on the forums, and it's really for those people that live in colder climates. What happens, how this manifests itself is once the temperature gets colder, you get into your 911 and you go to back out of your drive or do anything that requires the steering to be on or near full lock, and suddenly as you're moving backwards you hear this thump, thump, thump as you're moving. What's happening is, as the weather gets colder, the tyres become firmer, especially if you've got summer tyres on your car, and at full lock or near full lock, the turning radius of the front wheels are slightly different on a 911. And so one wheel will turn the car and the other one is dragged slightly and will thump as it gets dragged. It's nothing to be alarmed about, and really only happens in much colder temperatures. But it can happen to any 911, even a 911 with winter tyres. It's happened to my car with winter tyres, but the temperature had to be significantly colder for it to happen in my car. It also seems to happen less for people that have got the four-wheel steering system, but as I said, it can happen to anyone. But particularly susceptible to people that are in cold weather with summer tyres. They get it all the time. Nothing to be alarmed about, but people should be aware of it. So I hope this video has been useful to everyone. I'll do more of these types of videos in the future. See you next time. Thanks everyone.